Madam Chair, members of the committee, for the record, Rick Bennett, Director of Government Relations for AARP, Oregon. Here today testifying in opposition to Senate Bill 822. I think it's very unfortunate the governor and the co-chairs and others have chosen to frame this issue as a kids versus retirees. One day young will be old and they will need retirement security of pensions and Social Security and Medicare every bit as much as our older citizens do today. The policies that hurt older people are in no way a help to younger people. We should be working together to solve real problems that affect everyone.
So I appreciate this, the kids versus retirees. It's much broader than that, and the long-term implications are things that we have to think about. Well, Senate Bill 822, and I think the primary reason that Republicans have a problem with that bill is that all it does is kind of kick the can down the road. It creates a short-term solution, budget solution, but it doesn't deal with the long-term problem. The long-term problem is, you know, a 20-year problem. I haven't heard a solution other than, well, we need to raise taxes. Well, the co-chair's plan has taxes included in it. That shared sacrifice is in the co-chair's plan.
Senator Starr, let me respond in a couple of ways. With regard to shared sacrifice, I would note, in addition to this bill, the co-chair's budget seeks a targeted reduction in health services of $135 million. Also targeted within that is $22 to $25 million directly related in reductions to seniors and people with disabilities. When you consider the matching federal funds with that, you're talking about a reduction of probably $75 million in essential services to seniors. I would make note that the response by the Republican caucuses to the co-chair's budget calls for an additional $200 million reduction in health services. I have to assume, without any other detail, that senior services would be significantly reduced, and partly we're talking about reductions of $150 to $200 million in senior services. I would also make mention that when we talk about tax expenditures, the only thing we seem to be able to think of is a senior medical deduction. Out of 270 odd corporate and personal tax expenditures, that's the only one that anybody seems to actually be able to recall. I would suggest that some of you have a rather distorted view of what shared sacrifice is. I would also say that when we talk about government living within its means, all we seem to be able to think about is the spending side of that. The reality is tax revenue, our structure and the rates that we pay, generate revenue that is spent in two ways, both in direct services and in tax expenditures. And when we talk about saying we don't have enough to adequately fund education or public safety or human services, I'd like somebody to also say we can't afford all the tax breaks we provide corporations and individuals in this state. Thank you.
Okay.